Are we live?
We are live. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today for our Friday live stream. My name is Merv, I go by Krolin, and I'm a producer for ArcheAge. With me today I have Sophie, she goes by Zoke or Sock. She is a localization tester for ArcheAge. And over Skype we have Serafina, she goes by Celestrata, and she's our senior community manager. And I need to ask a question right now. Who wants a Drake? X up for Drake, I'm rolling right now. Get it in. Let's do this.
We are coming out.
We're giving away a Drake right now. Okay, and while we do that, let's talk about what's going on with live servers.
Go for it.
So as you guys know, if you've been in the stream throughout the day, you will notice that there are network issues that are going on. They're affecting all of our products right now. And you've seen that in ArcheAge through a lot of disconnects. And so our team is working on that. Obviously, it's a critical problem for us, and it's a top priority. To compensate for that, if you've been affected by it over the last couple days, you will notice that there is a 0 credit claim on your Glyph account page. We have given you 30 loyalty tokens. Now, if you didn't get that one and are affected by it today, you will be eligible for another grant, and we're basically going to be offering compensation until this is fixed. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, however many grants we have to do. We're just going to keep giving away stuff until the issue is fixed. Now, we thought it was important to still have the servers up. We could have just locked the servers and not had them accessible, but because we have a lot of things going on, we still need to provide the opportunity if you guys want to try to log in and collect goods for your turkey event or your patron. So, you know, it's up to you guys if you want to do that, and I have to say thank you very much for being understanding as we go through this. But continue, please, Xing up for Drakes. I'm going to give you another minute to do that.
Yep. I know that there are a lot of questions from the community right now, all over the place. Some people are concerned about leadership gains. Some people are concerned about, you know, obviously loyalty tokens, as you mentioned before.
And patron time, yep.
Patron time is definitely one of the other ones, and of course the sieges themselves. We are temporarily disabling sieges. We're making that decision because we want to make sure that people can't get into a state where they start sieging and then can't get half their guild online, or, you know, they're defending and can't get their guild online. Or, you know, even during this bidding process, some people were saying, I really want to get in bid and I can't. Or I want to, like, try and defend and snipe. There's been a lot of feedback from the community, and we believe the best option we can give you right now is to just disable the sieges. Some people I saw in chat feel it's unfair because then that gives castle-owning guilds another set of weeks to gain gold. That is true. But that's a better experience, I think, for everyone all around than getting into a place where you may not be able to fight back or you may not be able to siege appropriately. So it's important that we're trying to do the best thing possible, and we believe this is actually the best way possible. So sieges will come back around on their normal schedule. It's not like we're going to move the sieges up to next week. So you're going to be looking at another, 3 weeks until the next siege comes back around. So prepare your stuff for them, save it, and definitely jump for the gold at that point.
Yep,
So.
and please check the forum post that talks about that as well. I believe Celestrata posted something about it, or will be,
Yep.
And that it's important for you guys to look at that. I mean, if you're a longtime ArcheAge players, you've seen us go through growing pains with events in the past, you know,
Yeah.
sieges in the past, and it's a difficult call for us to make. There are people for and against it internally as well, but
Yep.
we went with the conservative route, and we thought it was the right thing to do, because the worst situation would be to have guilds losing castles or castles changing hands in a situation where people can't connect to the server. I won't repeat that, so that's the decision, and that's how we'll move forward.
Or even attackers losing resources because they can't get a group together, you know, or they can't attack as well as they need to. That too. So.
All right, that's
or-
enough X's for now. Let's get this
Yep.
roll going. Good luck, everybody. We're giving away a Typhoon Drake. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, this is one of the new mounts that was released last week. It's really freaking cool.
I love it.
And while we give away this Drake, we're also going to jump in game on our internal server. Now, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And since there are network issues, you guys will know it's not possible for a Krolin crash to happen. So if
Yeah.
we do lose connection, it's due to the same network issues you guys are experiencing. So we can go in game now, and yeah, we'll see how that goes.
People are wondering why that works like that. That's because our internal servers use the same logins as our live servers, so they're not different systems, so they can still be affected by these network issues. And briefly, do you want to talk a bit about the events at all that are going through the game? I know you mentioned that briefly before we started.
In regard to the Miss Song event?
The turkey
miss song
event, right?
and regrade and the things.
I was mostly concerned with the turkey event because people could potentially be missing their day. There are still periods of stability. I need to really see what we can do to affect it. As for extending the regrade event, it's a challenge for us because we have a very tight build schedule to ensure that we have 3.0 ready on time. And if we need to extend the regrade event, it pushes into that schedule. And it's a challenge. So it's one of those things where I need to evaluate if it's a thing we can do. If we can do it, we absolutely will do it. But if the impact is too great and we end up making too much of a compromise to do that, I'll make the tough decision to just kind of go with the way it is now. So here's the roll for the Drake, guys. Good luck, everybody. It's going to Gilmaru. Congratulations, Gilmaru, on your Typhoon Drake.
Yay, Gilmaru.
And Cole, we can switch over to game with devs in the corner. Right on.
Yay.
So we have a lot to talk to today. I know there are a lot of pressing issues, but hopefully you guys will spread the good word. I see some of the Hotline Bling references in chat. That's pretty cool. We did something like that internally as well. Many Drake jokes have been made, especially with its abilities. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I was not expecting this. Cutie Pie is on the screen. Maybe our network issues can make it so Cutie Pie goes away.
No.
That would be great.
He's
Then
back up on popular request.
Then we could go into slideshow mode and we wouldn't have to see Cutie Pie.
Right.
So what is Cutie Pie?
Cutie Pie is a Warborn, and he was with us on the stream 2 weeks ago. And people were asking about him, so I decided it's, time for him to come back in your suggested outfit, the Battle Fae.
I did not suggest that.
Yes, you said that.
No, why would I ever say something like that?
He looks good, and look at those tagged pants.
Clearly, I missed a lot last week, and I'm very sorry about that.
It does look a little bit festive. I have to say that
Right?
much.
Christmassy. It's not even on purpose. I have some other stuff, too. All right.
Wow. You're just going through all the classics, right?
Yes. No, this is another
My
one. That's
Krolin's
not Navy.
favorite costumes. Rip. Okay, so today we're talking about several things. We're picking off from where we ended up last week, and we're going to start off talking about community centers. So the building you see in the distance there is a community center. This one is located in Falcorth Plains. Each of the southern zones on the Nuyen and Haranya continents gain a community center in their main zones. That's pretty much all of them for the southern continents. The community center really replaces a traditional NPC crafting hub. It's kind of located in those same locations where the crafting areas have been. So you'll notice things like in Sea Child Wharf in Cinderstone, that sort of area is replaced with the community center. And yeah, in Falcorth you can see it kind of in the northern area. So the community center is really kind of an NPC hub that all residents of the zones can interact with. To be a resident of the zone, you have to have a house placed there, and Sock will cover that in more detail. One of the important things to note about the community centers is it's really kind of an additional system similar to the way that Diamond Shores worked out, right? You guys will remember Diamond Shores when it was first released was a conflict zone centered around the Ionod Library. It had those original crafting hubs in the northern, southern parts of the central area. Over time, those turned into the faction bases, and those faction bases ultimately leveled up from stages 1 through 3. Community centers follow a very similar path with regard to overall progression. The mechanics in which you achieve those upgrades are different, but it still follows that same 1, 2, 3 path. There are multiple types of community centers, and while we won't say exactly which type exists in which zone, you guys will see that, I'm sure, in either release notes or in an upcoming article. So Sock will now explain the benefits of leveling up your community center and how they differ from each other.
Yes, so like you mentioned, there are 6 different types of community centers. The different types are vehicle, ship, workbench, plant, Arrow of Judgment, and antiquities dealers. Now, what those are in detail, I'll go over in a little bit. I just want to explain first how you upgrade your community center. So like you mentioned, in the faction bases in Auroria, you have to upgrade it first to benefit from it. In order to be able to interact with it and upgrade, you need to be a resident first. So becoming a resident is easy enough. You need to own a house that's 16 by 16 or bigger that's in that zone. So as soon as you have a house 16 by 16 or larger, pavilion and gazebo also count for that. you become a resident. You can also be a resident of multiple zones, so you're not restricted to just one area. I have seen on the forum that somebody already asked about storage silos, which are not counted as a house for residency.
Well, Quilladon's going to be bummed then.
Because it doesn't. Aww.
Can't live in a storage silo.
Right. But if you
or
go.
You can, it just doesn't count as a resident.
But, I mean, like, the thing is, even though if you're not a resident, you can still take advantage of most of the benefits that come with it. If you were not sure about whether your house is qualified or not, at every community center, you'll find this villager board, resident board right here where you can interact with. There's a little button that shows you in more detail how you qualified for residency.
Edgar ArcheAge JC just asked, does Aurora or Growlgate have community centers?
They do not. It's only the southern zones, so Nuya and Haranya. With that said, though, not to say pirates and also people that live on the northern continent still can take advantage of some of the benefits. I will get to those in a minute. I just want to show you, so once you become a resident, you'll have different daily quests that will give you resident tokens. Those are the resident tokens then have to be turned in at your community center in order to rank it up.
Not ripping pirates, guys. Pirates can use these once they're leveled up.
No, they can, yes, absolutely. I'll get to that in a moment. So you upgrade the community center to rank 3. Start out at 0. The total of tokens that you have to turn in to the community center is, as far as I can see, 1,000 total to get it to rank 3. So it goes through rank 1, rank 2, and then rank 3. There's a suspicious cat. So once it gets to rank 3, the benefits, like I said, are different. One of those is the workbench right here, which will appear at rank 2 as a limited version, and then at rank 3 we get the full version. And that workbench is interactable by anybody, whether you're a resident in that area or not, whether you're a pirate, if you have your own nation, you can still interact with that. So those workbenches are neutral to everyone, and everyone can benefit from it.
And I'll interrupt you once again. People are commenting on the 5,200 labor in the corner. That's because it's an internal server that has nothing to do with the 3.0 update. Your labor caps will remain the same. And for those of you who are pirates who are saying you have to sneak in there, I mean, that's kind of the requisite for being a pirate, and you only go to jail if you die, so don't die.
Right, just don't get caught, and you'll be fine. So I'm just going like briefly over. There's going to be a bunch of new things that you can craft at those workbenches. Now, those workbenches are only in specific zones, but they're also on both continents. One of the other benefits that you can gain with the community center, like I mentioned, are vehicles. So the vehicle benefit basically spawns an NPC for you at rank 3 that allows you to buy temporary versions of cars in game. So it's you pay a certain amount of gold for a 6-hour version of a timber coupe, which you can then use. The same goes for the ship merchant. The ship merchant sells you temporary versions of the ships that are in the game. So you can buy a 6-hour Enon galleon if you want to spend the money for it. So those are vehicle, ship, and the workbench. Now, plants are the ones that we talked about briefly in the past too. 4 of the zones get a new plant type. We have watermelon, we have amaranth, we
Come on down to the ArcheAge Farmers Market. We got watermelon, we got pineapples.
Right. So what you get is new seeds and new seed bundles which you can craft. So at rank 2 you'll get the seed, at rank 3 we can craft those into bundles. And again, everybody can take advantage of that. Just because your house is not in that specific area, you can still go over and buy it. The last one was antiquities. Well, the second last one. Antiquities are a new kind of trade pack that you can buy from the NPC that shows up, and you can then go turn that in. It's a different version again of a trade pack that it's easier to craft to than like it requires less than a lot of other things, other trade packs.
That's true. With the introduction of that new produce, that means we do have apples, and we do have pineapples.
Apple pen. Wow!
Just saying.
Let's do it.
Chat called it out. I confirmed it. We have a
pen.
Pineapple
pen.
We have a Quilladon quill pen.
Oh.
Maybe?
Oh.
That screams like something I should Photoshop.
Make it happen.
We need to talk to Kendall after this.
Sorry, I keep derailing you. Please continue.
Yes. I want to show briefly the last type of community center there is. It's called that's called the Arrow of Judgment. Now, this is like kind of like a Care Bear PvP thing where if you are a resident of that zone and you have more than 150 contribution, which I will get to in a second, you can fire an arrow to the opposite continent and downgrade one of their bases. So this is the Arrow of Judgment right here. This is at rank 3.
I love this so much.
And I made sure I have enough contribution in this zone. I have my house. And I have, how much? 300 contribution. So with 150 contribution now, I can choose any of those areas that I like and downgrade their community center. Like I said, that's a progress of like 1,000 resident tokens, which you get daily, but it's still, you know, it's work to get it there.
So what can I do? Say you're like, I'm a defending resident on the other continent. How can I protect myself from getting hit by this arrow?
You can't.
I can't.
You can retaliate. That's about it.
Okay.
Go to Cinderstone and retaliate. So let's see. I'll choose White Ardent because that's one of the only one that's developed over there. There you go. I'll attack it. Ha ha ha. Downranked. So another thing to mention is the community center will reset after 7 days. So regardless if you're being shot by an arrow or not, you're going to downgrade after 7 days, and then you have to re-level the community center. Now, so far, most of those things were things everybody can take advantage of, whether they're residents or not. There is one more benefit to it, and it's the service fee. Now, if anybody spends money in your zone where you live, you get 5% of whatever money is spent in that little bucket of service fees. So let's say somebody buys something for 100 gold at a seed merchant in your zone. 5 gold of that goes into that bucket of service fees.
That's a lot of barley.
Right. But it's like it goes for anything that you sell with anybody buys anywhere from a merchant in your zone. At the end of those 7 days, when it downranks, it will split up the benefits, the service fee that you have accumulated, and evenly split it across all the residents in the area. And it's split depending on how much contribution you have. Now, contribution you get by turning in resident tokens into community centers. So not only do you want to upgrade the center for its benefits, but you also accumulate your own contribution. And the more contribution you have, the more you will get out of the service fee bucket at the end of the 7 days. So this is one of the benefits that's for residents only. So that's the one thing that pirates and people on the northern continent will not be able to take advantage of.
Yeah.
I mean, pirates too, they can still place the house somewhere if they want to.
Oh, sorry.
What?
A question from Sovereigns 152. How can we prevent multiple arrows from coming at us? I think
you can only shoot it as far. Well, I cannot 100%
kill the archer.
Confirm it because I have not been able to see it on like a better build for life candidate. But on this build that I've seen, you can only shoot it once. So once per period. It's not like you can just go and shoot arrows endlessly.
You're right. You can't just keep leveling it up over and over again and then firing.
And then another thing is it costs 150 contribution to shoot it, but it seems like it's not going to deduct it. So it's not like you lose out gold on, you know, retaliating or whatnot. The other thing that you get in those areas with the judgment shot is a item called Judge's Longing, which is going to be a temporary buff. So if you are not the one shooting the arrow, the benefit in this area, other than that, is temporary buffs to either focus or resilience.
So Volton in chat asked if the community centers are player-made. Nope, they are NPC, ran, and govern. It looks like the blue salt is the governing body of those, and they appear in main NPC areas. Yeah.
You'll have a representative a manager, community center manager at every community center. Those are the NPCs that will give you the quests that you need to complete your tasks. Inside the community center, you'll also have a teleport book so you can get directly to their warehouse manager mailbox, and there's some guest beds on top if you need to restore some labor. Yeah, and that's pretty much community centers in a nutshell. I think, did I forget something?
No, I think that's a pretty good overview. I mean, we're excited to see what community centers become more popular. Are the benefits going to enhance some of the value of Southern Zone areas? Those are the questions that we will see answered as you guys settle into this new system. We're going to move on and talk about the family system now. So those of you guys who are familiar with the family system, it is a pretty long time system introduced with the release of the game. Originally, the family system supported 8 members. They could be cross-faction, and it was really just, kind of a chat channel or permissions for your house. Over time, we've seen players use the family system to kind of create a micro guild, or maybe just a management of like their real-life friend group. But it really became this kind of system that was used to support small group play. The Revelation update enhances that. And this is a system that we've seen grow and change based on the way players play ArcheAge. The family system is developed to support people who play using that smaller group. Now, the family system is extended. Our current live version supports 10 people, but in 3.0 it will support up to 12 people. You have to extend the size of your family by using a certificate, but it can be up to 12 people. The rules are still the same. You can still have your pirate uncle in there or your cross-faction alts or whatever you want to put in your family. You can still do that. Supports up to 12 people. Now, family members get different roles, and these roles are mostly a role play thing. You can set what title you'd like them to have.
Sorry, again, this is like an internal version that doesn't have all the correct translations yet. But yeah, those are the different titles that you can.
Yeah, and there's like 7 or 8 of them, and you can assign them as appropriate. You know,
they're going to be English.
You can correctly identify your family members based on these titles.
Like this right here is Quilladon, and he's obviously not innocent. You can still give them titles too.
Nice. And so family play changes a lot, mostly because when you're in a family group, you now have daily tasks that you can undertake. And we can show that in a window. We can't unlock them in this build, but what we're going to do is demonstrate one of the activities that families can do. Now, these are like merit quests or guild quests, and you do them on a daily basis. And so, yeah, take it away. Let's see what it looks like.
And just to bring it up real quick, you do those daily so you can get vacation for it, you get family experience so you can upgrade your family, you also get buffs for your families. So you want to upgrade it so you can take advantage of those buffs, which starts out as vocational benefits, and then it adds on top a movement speed while carrying tri-pack, and then at the end you also get fishing boat. What's that? Duration of 4 wind for fishing boats and merchant schooners is extended.
It's really a buff that supports the changes to vocation, which we'll talk about after this, and then, supports trade pack running, which is something that families do a lot together.
So this is one of the quests, one of the new quests that come with the families, which I kind of like because it asks people to work together to complete the tasks. Now in this version you have to cook a local stew for the community, and you see you have like different roles that you can choose from, depending on what task is going to be within this. I'm gonna go for, this is all not updated again. I'm gonna go for F. This is gonna be my role for this. And then I have my 2 other family members here, which you can see are opposite faction, but we can still work together as a family.
So why are you in a family with Westerners?
Because they're my family. Like, I can't just abandon them just because they're Westerners.
Okay, all right.
You know, blood is thicker than faction.
You
so
heard
question
that first.
from chat.
Fam is more important
players-
than anything.
So I'll go ahead and start this quest. Now everybody has picked their roles, I hope. Now this looks a lot similar like sports fishing. You target the thing and you see which buff comes up. If it matches your task, you have to go ahead and do it. And then it's basically, for this specific quest, you have to go all the way until the cooking pot is filled, and then you can grab the stew for it.
So that's a little bit different. You're trying to kind of heal the cooking pot
Yes.
through use of your abilities.
There's all kinds of different ones. One is like a huge tree which you have to chop down, so you wait until it's your turn.
Now I have to ask some tough questions.
Yeah.
If I have a greater cooking skill, does it affect this
Yes,
at all?
it does. Not all of them, I believe, but certain quests, it does affect, your proficiency affects how quickly you get through a task. So for this one, for example, if you have a higher cooking proficiency, you're going to be able to complete this faster.
And what other options are there instead of cooking?
The options that, for this specific type of quest, were cooking a stew. This one is this is outdated, ironwood tree, which 3 people together have to chop down to collect hardwood lumber for the community. There's a giant pumpkin where basically you have to break into the pumpkin to get its pulp out because it's delicious. The beehive is the one that's I don't like out of all of them. It's basically a big mad queen bee, and you have to kill it and steal the royal jelly from her. And then lastly, a golden sheep, which you have to make happy so you can shear it.
Yeah, and so if you're bad and you push the wrong buff, it looks like the stew gets more rotten.
Yes. So it's like similar like sport fishing again. If you click the wrong button, you see you have the broken heart on top, and the XP for this one is going to go down. Your goal is to get it all the way up until it's down. And this is taking forever, so I might just not complete it right now.
Your family's
So,
mad because you're gonna get distracted because we're streaming. So
I'm
you
sorry.
guys are just gonna have to
I'm
cook that. I don't
sorry.
even know what it is. It
so,
looks like
so
some
while
kind
it's
of chowder.
cooking, we have some questions
It's
from the
local
chat.
stew. You can RP getting cooked too.
So while we're cooking, we have questions from the chat. Some people were asking, can you still do custom titles for your different family members?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So there's just roles, but the
yes,
roles
this
are
is the title
set,
right
though.
here.
Yeah.
So you
Okay.
guys can change her title.
And-
Too.
Yeah. So
And
like
the
your title's whatever, but your role is the guy who plants bundles. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. The other question I see coming up a lot is, will there be any sort of marriage within ArcheAge?
Marriage.
Marriage.
No formal
Marriage.
systems, to my knowledge. There's still the RP aspect with the boat in Sandy.
Oh yeah.
But that's pretty much it for now.
Yep. I don't think we're gonna finish this stew. I'm too distracted to pay attention. But yes. So this is the family quest. There's some other quests where you deliver things. Unfortunately, I can't fully show those to you because, like we said, the UI is currently locked on this build. But it's 3 different quests that you can do per day.
Mhm.
All right, and so what the reward for that you mentioned is vocation. So let's talk about vocation.
Okay.
There are some big changes in store in the Revelation update for vocation. A lot of you may have heard about them so far. But the main thing that's changing is vocation points will no longer be granted from normal activities like they do now. You need to engage in specific activities like the family daily quest to earn vocation points. That kind of puts a hard cap on the amount that you can earn per day. And the vocation system is really changing to a much more valuable currency than it was in the past. Before it was kind of used for those certificates or maybe occasionally to create a master crafting item. But now, Tier 3 and Tier 4 growables are purchased with vocation badges. The initial Tier 1 and Tier 2 growables are purchased from the normal seed vendor who's kind of diversified his portfolio and now sells livestock, seeds, and trees. So you would spend gold on those to buy those normally, but again, the more valuable plants and growables need to be purchased with vocation.
Yeah.
I guess off the bat, some people are going to be like wondering what happens to their current vocation badges.
Nothing.
Anything?
You guys
Okay.
keep it.
Yeah.
And we're actually
Yeah.
giving you advance notice of this change because it does restrict some sorts of gameplay. So stock up. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Another thing that's actually for purchase on vocation badges, which we didn't talk about yet, is a family rename token. If you want to rename your family, you can do that for, I think, 12,000 vocation badges.
Yep. And you buy that on the vocation store.
Yes.
And so when you guys get a look at this on PTS, I mean, you'll be able to see some of the, like more expensive husbandry animals, like a buffalo, for example, is purchased with vocation now. So that kind of limits your ability on mass-producing leather. And it kind of really changes gameplay up. Is it a good change or is it a bad change? I think it's kind of a necessary change. It just gives a little bit more structure to the vocation system and make it more valuable than it is right now, because it was really kind of left dangling, in my opinion, for the last year. So again, if you guys are on a legacy server, obviously most of you are, because that's what's available right now, you should start saving your vocation. Fresh Start will see a different kind of interaction with this, as no one has legacy vocation points there. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes. One of the things I did notice is the world is more populated with produce and gatherables that can only be purchased with vocation points. So you will see things like beans or quinoa or the even like rare animals around the world, and they are harvestable. So that's one way to kind of, we'll have to see what that does. Obviously, if there are a lot of people going for those things, they will be somewhat scarce. But the itemization of the way harvestables occur in the world has changed with 3.0. So those are the main changes to the vocation system. There are a little bit more, but we need to go into patch notes to discuss those. It's things like how the use of bait worms change, how we're adding a Korean version to obtain bait worms so we don't encounter the trouble that they had originally with the lack of bait worms. I know a lot of you guys have been aware of that and mentioning it. And some people even have decided to buy out the auction house based on those changes. A lot of you guys, ArcheAge is a heavy economic game, and you guys plan ahead. But I just want to reiterate that some things that you see in Korea, we may receive the more updated version of the 3.0 update and things change. So please keep that in mind. But the vocation changes, I think they're overall good, and that's a pretty quick summary of them. We'll move on to crafting because time is flying by. So the crafting system. Previously, in the 2.9 version you guys are playing, the max cap, as you know, is 180,000 skill. In the Revelation update, that increases to 230k skill. That's a pretty significant increase. It's only one tier of increase, so that's 50,000 points that are devoted to that single tier. And if you go to the benefits page, you can see there has been a change in, what labor decrease occurs at what stage, production time, and in the values of having those different skills. Now, 230k skill artisans will also obtain a new set of titles. And Amazonia had just finished up writing those, and they are as spectacular, if not better, than the previous 90 and 180k titles. So that's exciting if you like that sort of thing.
I do.
I saw someone mention on the stream that stream chat that you have a hedgehog out.
Yes. So on the previous stream, we showed those little mini miners that the dwarves get as their racial pet or whatever. The hedgehog is the one that the Warborn get. Anybody can go over and get it. Let me spoil where you can get it. It's going to be in Sunbelt Wilds, around the communal range. There is going to be an NPC selling those as pets. So, I love it.
Jumping back, I see Remain Calm from chat had asked a question about anchoring emblems. And since we just started talking about crafting, we can go into details on how those will work for us. Anchoring emblems are the rewards you guys have gotten from the turkey quests so far. They provide, remove the destruction chance at celestial grades and divine grades for weapons, armor, and accessories. Those are introduced in the 3.0 update. In order for everybody to craft them, you need to have a community center at rank 3 that supports something called the Brilliant Workbench. Once that workbench appears, players are able to craft those anchoring emblems. There's a secondary method for the NAEU version also. Masons, deeply skilled masons, can also craft them without the requirement of the Brilliant Workbench. So those two methods, again, the Brilliant Workbench at the community center can be accessed by everybody, even sneaky pirates. And the personal mason version has a pretty high skill requirement, but allows you to create those without the use of the Brilliant Workbench. So back to crafting. There are a couple other major changes. I'm not going to go into direct recipes because that could influence buying patterns on live.
Okay.
But one of the main differences are, you guys will remember that some recipes required types of rares from harvestable materials. The easiest example for me is an acorn beehive required, I believe it was 5 aspen hardwood. Those materials that are kind of rare and exclusives from one specific source have changed to support a new type of material that drops from a wider range of items. So when you're harvesting a tree in Revelation, you'll notice that you get a arcane grade piece of wood, and that's the crafting component that can be used across multiple crafts instead of just that specific one. It kind of makes it so the availability is greater, and less requirements are placed on finding some obscure thing that people don't really, harvest for anymore. In addition to that, the recipes for some of the crafting weapons and armor, the traditional stuff through your Ionod tier, have changed the number of essences that are required and the number of other materials that are required. Another great change is crystal and rock salt stabilizers are going away. Charcoal and dragon essence stabilizers will remain. Charcoal becomes the new stabilizer currency and is used in all of the previous recipes. If you have existing crystal or rock salt stabilizers, they can be right-clicked to be converted to charcoal stabilizers. And this is just to simplify that situation. Any hostile port of call that you decide to turn in packs for resources will now yield charcoal stabilizers, with the exception of Friedrich Island that will still offer dragon essence stabilizers. So rip rock salt, rip crystal, that's a change that's coming. The last main change that I wanted to talk about for crafting is the introduction of Ionod salvaging for wisps. This has been a request for you guys over the last couple months since the release of 2.9, when we had originally talked about it and realized that it wasn't quite right for our system. So we will destroy, Evenstone, an Ionod stone staff at epic grade, and we'll see the wisps that are resulted from it.
As is the tradition, the sacrifice of the Ionod stone staff.
And that bad boy gave 175 wooden mono wisps. That's kind of a big deal, because as we see Obsidian Tier 7 become more common and the need for wisps increase, Ionod can now be salvaged in that regard, and it produces wisps. Yes, it hurts me too to see that salvage, but it is a stone staff, so the sacrifice is necessary. We can also explain that the machining proficiency gains an improvement, and this is kind of natural progression of ArcheAge. So now you will be able to, and I don't know if you can show it in this build. You can't,
I can.
in fact.
Yep.
But if you guys see on the screen, we can use this as an example, even though this isn't the way it's going to be. But it's illustrious and magnificent tiers can be crafted using wisps to the automatically upgradable version. That means you don't unseal 1 and 4, you automatically unseal the upgradable version when you reforge using wisps. That will also be applied to the Ethereum tier with the Revelation update. So that means you basically can reforge Ethereum pieces to auto-craft a sealed Delph, and that sort of delivers us to a point where Delphinaut is more accessible. There's no way to automatically upcraft Delph. That was a question because in the Korean version that's a thing, but it won't be for us, so we appropriately scale with the natural path of progression. Question from chat. Metalicious asks what happens to the current hardwoods in 3.0. They are converted to the new resource.
Yep. A couple more questions from chat. I see people asking, tell us about the new skills and the hatred skills. I think that's going to be saved for another week. We're going to be talking about those. Other people are talking about, are you going to be talking about the coin purse changes? Yes, we will be talking about that today in a little bit. And main thing on the masonry charms that will be crafted. They want to know how high they need to go in masonry.
High.
Yeah. Like all
the entry
way,
level
right?
is 130k masonry. So that'd be a lot of stone bricks.
Yeah. And are they tradable from masonry?
They are not.
Yes, they are personal. So the mason has to make it for themselves.
Normally, that is not a system that we would release on a standalone capacity. You guys will remember when we introduced reinforced Luna Gems through the handicraft profession. They were originally released with the skill requirement and also being bound, and that was just a bad experience because the accessibility is insane on that. So typically, if we have a high skill requirement on an item that's needs to be globally accessible, it either will have the high skill requirement and be tradable, or be untradeable with the high skill requirement but have an alternative method to pursue. In this case, that is adding the value to the Tier 3 community center that provides the Brilliant Workbench.
Yep. All right. So, with that said, I think that's it for now. Let us continue onwards.
Okay, there are a lot of crafting changes. Most of them will be listed in the update notes. That's the best format for you guys to see it. And again, you will see them on PTS. We're targeting the end of November for PTS. There will be some days where it's only open for a couple hours per day, but if you look at my update notice in the PTS forums, I posted the schedule. It's the best place to kind of get a hands-on with crafting and see our initial update notes on it. It's better than us trying to go over every revision for every proficiency, even though I know there are a lot of questions about those. So let's talk about loot. Loot changes and the way that you loot changes in the Revelation update. There's been a lot of questions and speculations around this. Will this or won't this hurt coin purse farming? How does it change the way that I acquire materials? So let's go through it. The basic way to explain it is, in Revelation, when you loot a creature, there's a chance that you get coins directly from the creature. It is a small amount, but you can corpse loot coins directly. There are then three different types of sealed items, main sealed items, excuse me. There's way more types than 3 items that you can get depending on what you kill. But there are 3 new types of main item that kind of replace the existing coin purse mechanic. So the first item you'll see on the screen is the Prince's coin purse. This changes so that when you unseal it, you only get coin. These basically only have coin in them. And that introduces the second new method. This is the crate method. So this crate can be unsealed to have things like Lunarite, Archeum, the Archeum saplings, Mysterious Garden Powder. Basically, the rest of the coin purse table has been moved into this crate object. So what this does is allow you to choose whether you're trying to farm for coin or trying to farm for materials, and then you don't have to spend that much labor spamming normal coin purses in order to just get the materials. Now, it may be difficult to have enough labor, especially with the new requirements that are coming, to open all of these types of coin purses, but the system is designed for you to kind of choose what you want at that time and then not have to endure opening the other stuff and getting, filler items. So you can pick there. The last item that's being introduced is the metallic crate. This is a new system, so you may be lucky in your drop table when you kill a creature. You may gain one of these lost metal crates or the Aurora metal crates. These only come from the upper tier creatures, level 40 plus, I believe. However, these crates are sealed and they cannot be opened. To the left of them, you'll notice that there are keys. These keys are what need to be crafted to unlock these crates. Now, let me stress, these keys are not sold on the marketplace.
Yeah, I was about to say, we need to stress this part out.
That is the immediate follow-up before chat beats me to it. The keys are not sold on the marketplace. Now, in other regions, they may be. They may be absolutely designed to be sold on the marketplace, but that will not be the case for us because we don't think that should be part of the system right now. So you will craft the keys using copper and silver and other materials, and you do that through a normal recipe in the game. Once the key is crafted, you can use it to unseal these existing crates.
Yep.
Question from chat. Aether Morpheus asks, is the gold amount from coin purse increased as well? Can you open one of them? Sure, let's go ahead and open some of them. Now, my personal opinion on this is that the gold price per labor is going to be one of those things. You know, we're spending 10 labor to get 25 silver right now. Is that appropriate at the early game? Sure. Will Queen's purses probably retain their labor to value ratio? Yes. But again, it depends. You know, once the server's economy, depending on the state of your server's economy, opening coin purses for profit becomes less or more valuable. But again, you have the option to open any of the other 2 crates. So that's good.
And as you said before, like, now that you can loot a little bit of money off of every mob, possibly, you're technically sidestepping the labor system entirely when you get that money. So there is some gain there outside of the coin purse system.
I'm not going to show the full recipes on keys just yet. You guys will see that on PTS, but they are crafted. They are somewhat accessible as well, and they are needed to unseal those boxes. I wanted to mention there's one more item in Sock's inventory, and you'll see it on the right. It is a sealed Shadow Blade weapon. We're not going to open it because it doesn't work in this version, but we have requested from XL Games, and they have agreed that whenever you unseal these sorts of items, whether it's from a quest completion or from a mob drop, the minimum grade obtained will be grand.
Oh, that's good.
You will no longer see basic out of this. And some people are like, who cares about, what are you even talking? It's a big deal. And the reason why is basic gear cannot be salvaged using an even stone to obtain Archeum. So if everything that comes out of that is grand grade or higher, that means that unsealing it is always a way to get Archeum because you will be able to destroy it. It's a big change. Sounds like mine. Yeah, you see it in chat right there. That's a good change. That is a North America and Europe change. That is not something that all versions get, but it was a thing that we pushed on starting, I don't know, a long time ago. I think we saw it again last year with the faded weapons that dropped from Golden Ruins. You know, it sucked to get one of those that was basic grade. So it has to be grand. It's going to become a decent source of Archeum, and it basically allows you guys to farm for Archeum. So there you go. Awesome change.
Yep. A lot of excitement over that. Looking for any questions going through here. What if you have a ton of coin purses that you haven't opened before 3.0? Will they do this? Will they be changed? Will they be updated?
We'll have to see, but I believe right now they convert into the coin-only versions. But I'm not 100% sure. So that's a question we'll take, and we will get the definitive answer of, but it's my understanding they convert. Now, another question was for library bundles. How does that affect it? Because when you farm the library, you get the coin purse and the research bundle. Basically, the research bundle's plan is to replace, is to become the crate of the library. So it will now unseal and reveal the, Archeum and Lunarite and those sorts of things, where the default librarians, scholars, and deans, thank you very much, coin purses will reveal gold.
Yep. Another question is, are crates or keys tradable?
That's a good question. It looks like keys are tradable. I don't believe crates are. Are they? Maybe they are. I wouldn't trust this version. Let's wait and see.
Yeah. What you see here is not final. All good.
I see another question from Flying Squirrel in chat. Do stolen and scratch safes convert? You might be able to just open those and get their previous drop table, but I'm going to take that as a note for us to get an answer on as well.
Yeah. Another really important question. What are the names of the new servers?
The names of the new servers.
Yeah.
Fresh Start server for North America is called Reckoning, and the Fresh Start server for EU is called Prophecy. Those are the names. We are moving away from the god schema because there are a finite number of gods in ArcheAge. We did not want to reuse them. So we are introducing Reckoning and Prophecy.
I tried to get Sojung in there. So hard. All great questions. Can we get Fresh Start's forums soon? Yeah, you're gonna be hearing more about Fresh Start forums pretty soon because we gotta start getting people together and getting guilds together. It's coming up on us real fast. So yeah, there's gonna be a big announcement when we do that.
Question about what happens to seed purchases. This is TK Ryoa. What happens to them if they're purchased prior to the update? It's my understanding that they stay. We're not really trying to disrupt your existing stockpiles of, farmable goods.
Yep. I see some people asking us to open crates.
Open a crate?
Open crates.
You can, but again, these drop tables are not 100% the way that we're going to have them. Some of these crates, and I'm not going to confirm which ones, but they do have somewhat of a jackpot mechanic, meaning the more of them you open, the more likely you are to score an item jackpot from them. Again, these are not marketplace crates. These are the ones that drop from creatures in the game. But there is a system in place that, depending on how many you open, you have a greater chance to get more things. It's kind of like a karma system.
Is jackpot coming back across all the different options, or just that one?
I can confirm it for the supply chest and metal crate. Either of those it's going to be applied to. Not sure which one yet, but probably not for coin purses. That was something that we had requested. But since those, I know those jackpots were insanely popular in alpha over coin purses. There are risks with that. There are the same risks that have always existed. But we can definitely do that with the items. So I'm not going to say whether it's the metal boxes or the crates, but the jackpot mechanic will be in place. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. Will there be any changes to sheet music playing in groups? I know this is a bit off topic, but the black person has asked many times very patiently. So
going to have to forgive me. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm being followed by a yacht. I'm sorry if I'm giggling.
Does proficiency affect jackpot?
No, it does not.
Okay. All right. And are there exploration titles within 3.0?
I believe that each profession gains a new title at its maximum rank. We'll have to check to ensure that it applies to all. If it doesn't, that's something that we would request to have added. And man, you are a hero if you have 230k exploration.
Yeah. All right, so really fast, I think that's as many questions as we can fit in. Do you want to do one more giveaway?
Yeah, but I'm going to answer one more question from chat.
Go.
Several people are asking about larders.
Yes.
Now's a good time to talk about that. Larders do change in the update, and trade packs in general change during the update. Some of the labor costs are different than what you guys are used to. The values of packs have changed, and that's really important. One of the main changes is deeper specialty packs require Gilda stars for you to craft. One of the reasons that's important is because there is a state of the game where Gilda stars are devalued, right? You don't need them nearly as much in later parts of the game. So the system is kind of redesigned for you to run normal packs. If you run those normal packs for Gilda stars, you can then reinvest them in other packs and get better rewards for those packs. And it ensures that Gilda stars always have at least some sort of value and are not just forgotten. Now, why is that change important? For me, that's important because we need sea trade, right? Fighting on the seas is one of the things that makes ArcheAge better than any other game. Those encounters that you've had while sailing across the Arcadian Sea, Halcyone Gulf, into the Sound, you guys, these are some of the most memorable experiences that we have. So having a return to sea trade is good. By adding Gilda stars as a requirement is a way we can reinforce that. So I hope you guys kind of see the logic there. For our larders, they change basically the same way the other packs change, and that's the requirement of these new materials. Larders also take a skill requirement to craft. So I believe, again, this is just going off my memory, but I believe cheese is the easiest to craft, and medicinal herbs is the hardest to craft, and it does take a minimal amount of commerce. Anybody who is frequently using larders will easily meet that proficiency. It'll be more of a challenge for Fresh Start to get to larders that quickly, and that's kind of the main way that packs are changing. I think they're overall good changes, even though at first, my first interaction was, what the hell, it costs Gilda now? That doesn't make any sense. But then when you kind of look at the system and understand the logic behind it, it's a good change.
Yeah.
There are a lot of X's in chat.
There are a lot of X's in chat.
Yes, I brought up the Drake.
While we start rolling, final question. They asked, when are Fresh Start servers coming? They are coming along with the Revelation update, and that's launching December 10th. Boom. let's get some more Drakes out of there.
Okay, I'm
So many
distracted
tricks.
just looking at the screen. Can you kill the UI for me? I need a moment with this Drake. And thank you, Cutie Pie, for looking the part. You're wearing your Red Dragon costume. You have some Tier 7. Man, I don't know what that shield is.
Mythic.
Mythic.
Yeah.
Look at that glow. Look at the Drake's glow. There's just so much glow going on, and that looks wonderful.
That is wonderful.
Majestic.
All right, give away some more Drakes.
Here we go, Typhoon Drake. This is going to be number 2 because the other dude won the first one that we gave away at the beginning of the stream. So number 2, Typhoon Drake goes to Metitw. METITW. Congratulations.
Metit W.
Metitw. Number 3, Typhoon Drake. Good luck, everybody. Goes to Jackrabbit 1101. Alrighty, let's do one more Drake, but I'm just going to give it one more moment. We talked about a lot of stuff today. We talked about community centers,
Families.
stuff.
family
Vocation
system,
changes.
some crafting, some vocation, some loot. Let's do takeaways. Serafina, what is your takeaway about our 3.0 content and just the Revelation update so far? Maybe something that happened today during the stream.
It's awesome, and I love the fact that Care Bears are getting their own form of PvP. So,
Care Bear PvP. You guys are bold. I don't
Yeah.
use that word, okay? Sock, what is your takeaway?
I live in the community, so
Pangolins.
I love pangolins. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love pangolins? My takeaway was mentioned in chat, actually, so I'm going to borrow there. But the community centers suck because there are no basketball courts. That is my takeaway.
What? There's no.
The number 4 Typhoon Drake goes to our lucky winner,
Um,
Karita Air.
what?
Yay,
What?
Karita!
Congratulations,
He hacked.
Karita.
He hacked. He must have hacked.
It's right on the screen right there. I rolled it.
Congrats, Karita, dude. He deserves it. He deserves it for all the stuff he
Yes,
does.
he's always here.
And all the translations he's running for us in the community. So thank you, dude.
Lucky man. All right, so I think that wraps it up for today, guys. Thanks for watching our stream.
Yeah.
I'll let Serafina do the outro because I tried to do it last week and I even said all the right stuff, but, you know, no one has the outro like Celestrata. So take it away.
Okay. Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Hey, guys, we will be back, of course, next week at the same place and same time. Don't go away. Remember, we have all of our updates on what's going on with the network issues on the forums. And, of course, you can also follow us online on social media at facebook.com/ArcheAge or twitter.com/ArcheAge. We'll be updating both of those as well with information as we get it. Don't go away. Atlas Reactor is next, but have a great weekend and have a great Veterans Day. I said it before, I'll say it again. Thank you to all the veterans who have served within our military. We really appreciate your service and everything that you've done across the United States, whether you're active or not. So we hope you have a great Veterans Day, and we hope you have a great weekend. Take care, guys.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye.